3, 2, 1.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Ross Snare, and I'm the Senior Director of Operations and Government Affairs for the Prince William Chamber of Commerce. We are here today for our Town Hall series. We are 1 week away from Election Day, and we provide you the opportunities for the people in the city of Manassas to hear from the 2 mayoral candidates and the Republicans running for city council in the city of Manassas. The Democrats were invited. They still have time to pick a date between now and Election Day if they want. The opportunity has been afforded to them. So without further ado, I want to get this started, and I want to introduce everybody to Councilwoman Theresa Coates Ellis. And Theresa, take it away.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. See a couple names. I'm Theresa Coates Ellis. I am a Manassas City Council member. I'm also a member of the chamber. You want to get me to do a little introduction, Ross? Just go right into that? Okay.
Yep, go straight into it.
So I am actually from a long line of entrepreneurs in my family, from my grandfather down to now my daughters. So I actually grew up in the trades. My father is a auto mechanic and opened a shop when he was very young, and our whole family worked in the shop. So I chose to go to college. I didn't really, wasn't that mechanical. So I did put myself through college and ended up graduating from George Mason with a degree in business communication. So originally I'm from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I moved down to Manassas in 1987, so more than 30 years ago, and went into the healthcare sector as a healthcare manager, and did other management and marketing for other businesses as well. And finally got out of healthcare actually last year. The doctors that I had contracted with retired. So I ended up just staying in marketing. And I'm lucky that I have my daughters a part of my business. So we can partner together. And as I move forward into this role as mayor, which will be a full-time job, I'm very, very lucky to have my family there to, grow the business as I help our city get through this pandemic this crisis. Now we have several crises going on, as you all know, as business owners and business people. We have the economic crisis, we have the healthcare crisis, we have the education crisis. So I have a strong background in healthcare and also in business. So I feel like I can bring my knowledge and leadership to the table to try to really help our city of Manassas and, the areas around us that we have shared agreements and share responsibilities. So during the pandemic, I've been in like 3 different phases in this campaign. When I announced in February, Mayor Parrish announced he was retiring, and I announced the next day that I was going to run for mayor. That time we had a pretty thriving economy with Micron expansion, a $3 billion expansion that's come on. Then everything changed in March, and I shifted into high gear with all my healthcare background, and coupling that with my business background, my heart went out to our citizens and especially our businesses. We started roundtable discussions on how to help them work through the PPP and the unemployment and the different ways to pivot. And I personally did get out into the community to make sure grant applications were put right in front of them, because there was so much information flying around at that time. I spearheaded the move for English, Spanish for everything, not just certain parts of our website, but the entire website, to be prepared for that, as well as all the materials going out through economic development. So I am the liaison for economic development with the city, as well as I'm a land use. I was appointed to land use and solid waste, which is very important with sustainable practices. So the next phase of that was when, the economic crisis started to hit. So I continue to remind everyone to stay safe and healthy with the background I had in healthcare. And then I think that now we're into, an education super challenge. So I was talking to my economic development director, Patrick Small, this week, and we were talking about the unemployment rate. And right now, the August figures, it's the most current figures we have, it's at 6.6% in the city. And it was at its high of 10.9% in April. We still have a long way to go. And I think there's a lot of people that are taking care of their kids or their jobs went away. So as we're moving forward to prosper, that will all, work itself out when our schools get back. But the superintendent, I talked to him last week, I think it was last week. They are anxious to move into phase 1 because enrollment is down. I think with the state, the enrollment in education is down about 3% average. I don't know the region in the city exactly, but when the enrollment numbers drop like that, then you're looking at, a jeopardy in funding. So everything is starting to shift. But our numbers are up a little bit with the COVID-19 cases. So, we just have to remember to stay safe. So, and weather through this, and it might be a little longer than we expected. So some things that I've done in the community, just real quick, to backtrack a bit. I am the area governor of Rotary for the city of Manassas and part of Prince William County. The Rotary is one of the oldest and largest service organizations in the world, and we do a lot of humanitarian work. We do a lot of community work. I've helped kids get education scholarships. I've helped them with mentorships. I started a Shadow for a Day program 3 years ago in order to connect our young professionals and students with mentors in many different industries, from plumbing to doctors. The connection itself is very, very valuable. Some of the students have actually met with them, got a job with them, or they just connected for references and learning about careers. That is similar to the CTE program in the schools, except CTE, you're actually getting, the skills. But I think you also need to have the connections to those jobs. That can spur apprenticeships and internships, which are very critical moving forward. As we're looking at the economy, students are questioning how are they going to go to college, if their family is struggling. So we have to look at alternative ways for educating our students. If you look at the trades and give them some skills, many trades are hurting for people, actually. They're essential workers. Many trades, they stayed open. And my father, a mechanic, he is hiring again because they're busy. But yeah, so that's kind of some of the things I've done in the area.
Perfect. So how this is going to work is I have a series of questions that I'm going to ask, and then what we'll do is we're going to go through the questions from the audience. So without further ado, Theresa, what is your vision for the city of Manassas?
So my vision for the city, like I was saying when I said I was going to run in February, it's interesting how everything has changed. We're really back to making sure we're, being protected, that we're preparing so we can prosper again. I will get us through that. I've had some economic setbacks, being a business owner for 30 something years. We've had our ups and downs, and we get through it to thrive again. When you're looking at health, we'll get a vaccine eventually. It might take a while, but we got to weather that storm out. So, I'm a communicator. My degree is business communication. And I think one of the strongest assets that I have is my connections in the community and being able to communicate resources and messaging in order to help our community. Like, I immediately went into full steam ahead to make sure my own website was getting the resources on it, making sure social media was pointing people in the right direction. Our mayor, Hal Parrish, is retiring. You know, when we talked about this, we have a good staff, we have a good communication department in our city, but we are representing the community. We hear a lot of stuff. We even hear, you know, some restaurants are struggling getting propane, you know, that's our job. I have knocked every door in the city at least probably twice because I've been, you know, campaigning probably for 6 years because I ran for council. So communication is key, and moving forward, that will help get us through it. And also having the background of businesses. My heart belongs to our businesses, you know, but I also see how social services is suffering, huge suffering right now. Our kids are at home, some of them in abusive situations. We even had some stories of, you know, where were they going to put all the kids that were being pulled out of their homes during all this. So, you know, just a little something that I did. My daughter is a film director, and she ended up leaving LA to come back to Virginia because it was so bad there. And we went to social services with Old Town Strong, who is a great community group in our city. They do a lot of fundraising on what can we do? Where can we help with the funds that Old Town Strong had? And we went to a visitation room, and we just redecorated it. And my daughter painted an amazing mural just to have a peaceful setting for the children when they were, you know, waiting for processing basically, or waiting to visit with their families again. So that was a very significant contribution during the last couple of months, because we thought this is going to really impact some of our most neediest children, just to give them a place that they feel safe and peaceful. So, but a new vision. I went to redefine mayor. So getting back to that. The mayor is a huge part of our city moving forward. You know, if you look around at other cities right now, the role of mayor has been really looked at closely. You know, so I am taking that very serious. It needs to be the communicator, the connector in the community, to make sure that the needs of our community are being addressed, and our businesses.
Perfect. Well, that kind of leads into the next one. If you're elected mayor, how do you plan on working with the business community?
So yes, I've always been very connected to the business community to begin with. You know, I go to chamber events, 1 Million Cups. I've done a lot of networking. You know, after 30 something years, you know, I could pick up the phone and get an answer to something if I need it. I want to be the go-to person for our businesses because I'm a really good connector. I do want to keep our businesses that are struggling moving forward, and make sure that we also are bringing in new businesses so that we can expand our revenue base, because we're going to need the revenue from our businesses as they prosper. That will definitely help us as we, you know, are in recovery. So, and also try to, you know, be more of a unifier for our businesses with education. That's really important. Not only will the businesses meet their future workforce, the future workforce will meet their businesses. You know, we have some businesses that some students don't even think they would want to look at because they don't even understand what they do. You know, I have 7 children. So I have 6 daughters and 1 son. They're all adults. It's a blended family. But 2 in the Air Force. Well, one she just got out of the Air Force after 8 years, but my son's 18 years in the Air Force in Georgia. And so I've been through the cycles with how they try to figure out their way. You have to have all the opportunities out there for our students. So we have many students here that are going to call their city home. So.
Okay. The next question I have for you is how will you assist sole proprietors to grow into small enterprises and increase employment in the city? So kind of taking the businesses from like, the one person sole proprietor, growing them into a larger small business, if you will. How do you plan on doing that as mayor?
Having access to information and also funding. Funding can be the biggest barrier in growth, and also the workforce. Having people to have them trained, making sure that we have the resources there for them, make sure Nova and Mason have programs to get our young professionals or our career changers the skills they need to take on this growth. And one of the biggest barriers, like I said, is funding, having access to money. That is, we have like Centerviews, we have some incubators, and share workspace. They have amazing programs. Now it's a little quieter than it used to be. George Mason, the small business, we have a lot of things, but like I said, people need to know about them. I have met so many young professionals with amazing ideas, and they just don't even know how to do a business plan. So they'll get open, because you can get open with ideas, but you have to grow with strategy. And that is what we can do. There's some things we can do to relax some expenses for them, if it's incentives or grants. Economic development, I know that is something that we are very involved in, helping our businesses that are trying to grow. We have quite a few that we've just awarded some grants so they could go to the next level. That's very important to make sure the funding is there for that.
Absolutely. So you talked about education. So how do you view the role as mayor in creating a well-educated workforce and to improve economic development in the city?
Strong relationships. You have to have strong relationships with our education institutions and organizations and our businesses that are creating the jobs, as well as our small businesses. Micron's expansion, they're bringing in a lot of jobs, and they have to have the workforce. So Mason, I think it's called the Fab Lab they opened, that was before the pandemic. And a lot of that is, training that can help in that industry. As a mayor, you lead that, to make sure that happens. Have to have somebody that's pro-business, pro-education, and connecting.
Okay. And the final question that I have for you, and then we'll go into the ones from the audience, is how do you view Manassas's competitive standing compared to other cities in regards to taxes, regulations, and job creation? And how would you improve the city's competitiveness as mayor?
So during the pandemic, the city of Manassas, we have to look at some of the revenue that comes in. We're still getting more information. We have weathered the storm a little better than some places because we have a very diverse economy. We have our manufacturing, we have restaurants, we have our retail, we have service industries. We are more fortunate than if you're looking at a city that is very dependent on hospitality. They've been crushed by that. So keeping that diversity is good. Attracting businesses is important. You have to make it a business-friendly environment to make sure that they have the workforce, the funding, the locations, and having a strong economic development department that can also help them through that. As long as, and as well as a chamber, we have a good chamber here. And I got to give you some kudos, because during the pandemic, Ross, I read your emails all the time. Very, very helpful. No, and I told you that before. That was really, really helpful. And to share that we can all share as well. A lot of talking, between our partners. We have to have strong partners. Let's see. Taxes. So, we have one of the highest property taxes in the state. A That's not what I want, for sure. I see the struggles that our families are having right now. They're getting killed in property taxes. We're losing some people, that are going to areas where the taxes are cheaper. We have advantages here, though. We have jobs.
Mhm.
But, that's a fear for me. We got to keep the people that built the city too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because when you get to a point where you're ready to retire, I hate to see them leave. But like I said, I've been knocking a lot of doors and I'm hearing a lot of things. So what was the rest of the question? What did I?
You're good. You're good. It was basically how
Okay.
would you improve the city's competitiveness as mayor?
Yeah, just keep the businesses coming in and having a good support and good partners and good communication, making sure they have, if they need to have some startup money, try to see how we can help them with that. But we're in better position because we have the government here too. We're very, very lucky. If you leave Northern Virginia, you'll see how the rest of, the areas have been impacted, but we still have our struggles. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say we don't.
Absolutely. Well, we will now go into the questions from those in the audience. And just a reminder, please, everybody, if you have questions, please put them in the chat box for us. And I'm going to start with the first question is, you're the Republican nominee for mayor. What is your path to victory in a year that's projected to see some Democratic gains, especially in the city of Manassas with some the demographic trend in the city?
My path to victory? You mean you want all my secrets?
Not all the secrets, but how you see winning as a Republican in the city of Manassas.
Because I'm running as a person, I want to be honest. I've always done that. I have been a business owner my entire adult life, and my families are entrepreneurs. So I'm a Republican because of fiscal responsibility and being pro-business. I'm not going to, I'm staying true to who I am, but I am the person that listens to the entire community. I'm out there trying to see where we're having our challenges and where we have to try to overcome them, and the best way to overcome that obstacle. I've been involved in the community since I came here. It's since 1987, starting with becoming like a teen mom to a master gardener with the Prince William County Co-op, to Education Foundation, to Inter-Service Club Council president. I just have always been involved. So what you're getting with me. Mm-hmm. I have a strong track record with proven results. So to weather the storm is just like, I'm being true to who I am. What you're getting, and I'm very positive. I get along with most people. I definitely know how to handle myself in a boardroom. I was the only woman on the airport commission for years. And that's important as we're moving forward to make sure everybody has a seat at the table. I am also one of the initiators of the Equity and Inclusion Task Force that we just appointed when we were starting to see some of the challenges in the city. That we need to come together as a group, and then it evolved into the task force, and I'm very, very happy about that. So that's going to be starting up soon. I think we have a moderator finally.
Perfect. What makes you stand out from the other candidates running for office in Manassas?
I am, like I said, bring a lot to the table. I bring a lot of experience, and I'm a really, really good communicator. I'm honest. I'm also aware of, I got a pretty thick skin. I think being the only women in many of the organizations that I've been involved with, I can handle a lot. I put a lot into perspective, and honestly, when you have 7 kids, you've heard it all. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Okay.
Let's bring us together.
Perfect. The next question is, what do you believe is more important for Manassas right now? Building new homes and commercial space, or rehabbing / expanding, making better, utilizing our existing homes and storefronts?
Well, in the city, we don't have a lot of place to grow. I mean, the county has a lot more expansion opportunities. So yes, we do have to redevelop. That's more important. Helping, especially now, helping our businesses try to get them through this, so that, like you said, we talked about earlier, moving them to the next level. New housing, there's just not much room here. Our schools are already, well, now it's all different. We got to take a look at all this. Virtual learning has changed everything. It's also changed everything in our workforce, the acceptability of, working at home, which is, it's a good thing. I mean, it helps with transportation, traffic issues. But, we talked about this earlier, Ross. I went to the VRE to talk to the people that ride the train, and there were about 4 people there at the busiest time. You would have went there a year ago and you wouldn't have been able to even see all the people that were there. So, you said that you were going to be talking on transportation or getting some information that you're going to be able to share with us on the future of our transportation. So got to keep that going though, because it's going to come back. We're going to grow, and we're going to need to make sure we move people. We have put a lot into that. And I feel confident though that's going to stay stable.
Perfect. The next question, kind of going towards education, you had said that schools are ready to enter phase 1 in the schools. So as mayor, would you push to have schools reopen to in-person learning? What's your stand on that position?
Yeah, so they are ready to move into phase 1, but they have not set a date. It's not, it is when it is the safest for the children to go back and the teachers to go back and the staff. So it's not like they said, oh, we're going to do it now. I know that they are prepared. Like the teachers, they have secured the PPE for them. They're going to be in lab coats, gloves, masks, and shields. So that's the kind of thing. We have to have the safety. I have seen a couple of options, kind of work many different ways. The hybrid model for some school districts have brought more cases up. So is it best to, have them all come back at once, or keep them all at home until we have a clear, safe path for them? But that is a school board decision. City council, mayor, we're here to, support them and make sure they have the funding that they need. And the school board is meeting tonight, and I'm anxious to actually hear what they have to say.
Perfect. The next question is, what are your top 5 or 3 major issues you want to address once elected mayor?
Well, of course, the businesses, make sure the businesses have what they need to continue to get through this pandemic and then grow. Education, of course, making sure that our education is ready for when they do open, but also understanding the changes in education and how we might have to pivot, with that. I've talked to some students, the students that are introverts and shy, the few that I've talked to, they actually love virtual learning. Extroverts, not so much. Yeah. I personally would go crazy. It wouldn't be what I would want. But, should we have more of once the health risk is, should we have more virtual learning, for the schools? That's something we're all going to have, talk about. And that's the school board's decision, and superintendent too, but the schools. Let's see the next one. Well, to make sure that our community is a welcoming community to all. The Equity and Inclusion Task Force, I'm very anxious to sit in on those meetings, because it's big. We have like 34, 35 people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really large, and they're gonna have to break up into, subcommittees, but what do they want for their city? Making sure that we move forward with the vision for our diverse city. We have an amazing diverse city. It's one of our greatest strengths. And so also, okay, so I get 5. Sustainable practices. So I am a master gardener, trained years ago. And I did that because everything I planted died. And I learned about how to be responsible, make sure you plant things in the right place, right? It sounds very fluffy to some people, but it's actually really important. We have our pollinators in decline, and it affects our food source. And planting like native plants is important. My husband is a business owner too. So we have like 2 businesses on our family. But by hobby, he's a beekeeper. So we got involved with, I initiated Bee City USA for Manassas, and it should be a resolution probably after the election. And, we're gonna do some great fun things with that. It's sort of like Tree City USA, there's the Bee City USA, and it is really just bringing more awareness of sustainable practices that we can do with our public spaces and also at home. So, and that has really had a lot of people interested during the pandemic. We did a lot of segments and series on that. We did something with the honeybee boxes. So we have an apiary in Nokesville on somebody else's land. They have a farm, and then we have some hives in our city. And so now we have expanded that. There's about 10 to 12 hives that we have helped homeowners put in their yard. And we did get an ordinance passed so that it would be, we just did that, an ordinance passed so that it would be safe. Make sure it's within the boundaries, and it's not, bees are going to make sure they fly up and not straight. There's a lot to it. We actually have the Prince William Regional Beekeepers Association in the city of Manassas. And it's a really active, large group. And it includes farmers to attorneys. It's very interesting. So that's important to me. But native bees do not sting. So that's what we're focusing on really with Bee City USA, is to have more pollinators, which is bees, butterflies, even flies. Not that I want to have more flies in the city, but they're all pollinators if you have the right types of environment for them. So Liberia, one more thing. Liberia in the city of Manassas, we finally, we've done a lot of work. I'm the patron councilwoman for the gardens that they're putting in. We just planted a lot of native plants. And we have a park there. The house is open, not open, but there's events I think you can do outside the house right now, but inside the house, the first floor is looking good. We have trails. It's on Portner Avenue. If you are ever looking for an amazing park just to visit, it's become the second Manassas Museum lawn where people, can gather safely.
Okay, perfect. The next one is, what is your position on the Route 28 bypass, that Godwin Drive extended that the county voted on recently?
Yes, I support it. I'm glad that the Board of Supervisors, did a revote on that. So it was funded, and we need relief. When we get back into full business, I think people will see how that is a huge asset.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the last questions we have here in the group chat is, what is your position on green space for the city?
I think I probably answered that with the sustainable practices. Yeah, it's very important to have the green space. We already have that in place with community development, economic development, to make sure that we have that. We could use some more park space, but we are, 10 miles by 10 miles, our city. So I don't know how much more park space we can really gain at this point, but we can, like Annenberg Manor, we just purchased, and that is a park that you can use now. And the future of Annenberg, which was Mr. Portner's residence. He was a brewer. we are getting a lot of our community input on the future of that. That's an amazing building. So we'll see what our community wants to do with it. But it's looking, from what I'm hearing, that it will be a public space, that we can use. I would like to see it being used for events, but that's a long way off. It's being
Yes.
stabilized right now.
Mhm.
So,
And I guess
but it's a park now. We have a park.
perfect. The kind of final question we have from the audience is, what are your thoughts on the accessibility and like civic engagement, and from members of council, the mayor's office, and things like that? Kind of as we look towards the future, how do you, if you're elected mayor, how do you plan on meeting with the citizens, kind of being out there and up in front with it?
Well, so I've been on council for 2 years, and I have been, doing council initiatives and council meetings. I've done like talk with Theresa, and my Shadow for a Day program is a council initiative that I started three years ago before I was elected. And that is bringing people together to talk about different types of jobs and opportunities. My Shadow for a Day program, it really evolved into a different type of format. The first 2 years, I invited professionals, and I had to turn people away into centrifuge, and they would give like an elevator pitch of what their job is. And then the students were invited there to listen, and then do breakaway sessions with them to learn more about their jobs, and then set up contacts to go, work with them or whatever. So this year, we could not do that. I was hoping to do it at Nova, because we had so much interest. So we did a virtual. I did a virtual, and that was extremely successful. We went from like 75 people in centrifuge to thousands. So I just kind of broke it down into professions, like we did Sinistral, how to be a brewer, Blaine. We did environmental scientist with Matt Brennan. I have a park ranger coming up, that I didn't get out yet. A leader in the history and culture sector. She just did one, Dr. Anderson. So, I interviewed them, and then I did like an opening segment and got their contact information out, invited people to listen, and it was thousands for each one. It was amazing. So continuing on with the communication, being available, and having a background in communication and media, I am no stranger, to doing podcasts, and we just did a little fun dance video yesterday for fun, and engaging with the community, getting out there and just meeting with them and talking. Also, when you're looking at the city council, having more engagement with people being appointed to committees, boards, that's also important. When you start getting involved in the actual different departments that we have in our city, you start to understand more, and you're a bigger part of it. In city council, we are going to go through like a renovation, and to make sure that there is more, it's more open, friendly to people coming in, like with community conference rooms and things like that, more of that. And we do already have all of our stuff broadcasts. So, open to listen to however people think we can improve.
Perfect. And we do have one final question, and then I'll leave you with the final thoughts. What did you want to do that is different than what the city has done in the past?
Well, I think, being more accessible, being more out there in the community, not having like this, our leadership like on a pedestal. I think our leadership needs to be in the community. It's very important. Like, how do you know what our community needs and wants are if you're not out there talking to them? We have an excellent staff at the city of Manassas, and you can reach out to them and I can get what I need. But I'm representing our residents, so I have to bring things to them to make sure that we're on the right path for what our community is looking at, and also be, you know, a leader in that if it works for our community.
Okay. And like I said, final statements. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Any final thoughts you want to leave us with today before we are 1 week away from Election Day? I'm sure you're busy and knocking on doors. So,
Well, I have to say early voting is really tough. It's been 45 days of election a day. You know, we started September 18th was the beginning of the election. You know, when you have early voting, 9 to 5, Monday through, 8:30 to 5, Monday through Friday, and now we have Saturdays, you have to, you know, work hard to get that manned, as well as door knock, as well as be a city council person, and you know, stay up with in the middle of a crisis. So it's been a whirlwind. We're down to the last week. I'm excited. I got family flying from all over the country in to storm the precincts with me. I have, you know, when you have all these kids, you got to build in political team, at least the day of the election.
Mhm.
So, yeah, you know, I really look forward to being the mayor of our city of Manassas and serving our whole community. You know, I'm so inspired by people and how they have come forward in these challenging times that we've had, you know, from people giving up their, Chrissy Marie, who has been giving up her Thursday afternoons, you know, to give out food, and I've jumped in with her as much as I could. I mean, that's just one example. There's been a lot of food distributions. Our organizations and our businesses that have, you know, dug deep down in their pockets and their, you know, their sweat equity to help our citizens and our residents. It's been so inspiring. I feel like it's been a boot camp training as a mayor. You know, I look at Mayor Parrish, I'm like, well, I guess I'm up, you know. He's been really good at giving me, you know, some background information and historic information, which is important. But I'm going to run with the ideas that, you know, that I feel is important to our city. So, you know,
Perfect.
get out and vote. Early voting, November 3rd in person, you know, get out and vote, very important.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Theresa. We really appreciate it. Thank you to all those
Thanks
that
to
joined.
everyone that joined us today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this will be live. So thank you all so much. And I hope you have a good rest of the day, everybody. Go out and vote.
You too.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you.
Thank you.
Stay strong and safe. 45 minutes. Okay.